Hello, in this tutorial, I'll show you how you can easily and quickly edit your studio photos when it comes to Photoshop regarding skin retouching, color grading, and fixing the background to remove these folds and creases from the background, and how you can transform and make the background look better when it comes to Photoshop. So in case you want to download the raw image and assets used to this very tutorial, simply check the link in the video description to download all these assets used in this kind of video. So I'm just going to come to my light panel and simply come to contrast and add contrast to the image. Come to my shadows, open up the shadows of this very image, and I'll simply come and take the highlights and the white slightly down. I'll take the blacks down slightly, and I'll open up the shadows even more. I'll open up the exposure of this image even more. So once I've done that, I'll simply come and simply increase on the warmth or the temperature of this very image to have a better color grading step when it comes to Photoshop, because warm images are easy to color grade when it comes to Photoshop. So I'm just going to increase the white balance by warming up the image. So just come and simply open the photo in Photoshop for us to do the next adjustments like the skin retouch and color grading. So once we're done opening the image in Photoshop, the first step you have to do is first of all doing the skin retouching. So just come to the background layer, create two copies from the background layer by moving and dropping on the new layer icon. So drag and drop on the new layer icon. We are going to rename this to color. Then name the upper layer to texture. And after renaming these layers, come the color layer, turn off the texture layer, come to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Click on an area on the skin that has more skin details, but ensure that the radius of the Gaussian blur is taken all the way down. Then move the radius slider up to the point whereby the textures or the details are just starting to get lost or to disappear from the model's skin. So about 2.5. That is when I'm just starting to lose out on the details in the skin. I'll click OK. Select the texture layer, turn it back on. Come to image, apply image, and the source is the name of the photo that we're trying to edit. Under color, select the color layer. Channel is RGB. Blending has to be add because this is a 16-bit image. The scale is 2, offset 0, turn on the invert option, and the image is going to turn into gray. Just come and click OK. Change the blend mode from normal and change it all the way down to linear light. Then select both layers and drag them and put them into a group. After grouping the layers, open up the group, select the color layer, turn off the texture layer, then come to the brushes and get the mixer brush tool. And for the settings of the mixer brush tool, make sure the hardness set to 0, soft round brush is selected, clean brush is selected, and this second option, that is clean brush after each stroke, is selected. Weight is 9, load 75, mix is 90, flow 100%. Ensure that sample all layers is not turned on or is not checked. So after that, you can now zoom in slightly and start brushing over the skin to smoothen the skin. So reduce on the size of the brush by using the square bracket key on the keyboard. So I just come, click and paint like that on the skin. So we are basically painting the midtones alone, the highlights alone, and the shadows alone in this very photo so that we can create an effect of smooth skin. So I'm just going to slightly zoom in, Command plus to zoom in, and blend like that. So blend the highlight, blend this dark area alone like that. So you have to keep on doing this for the rest of the skin tones on the image. So I'm just going to do this quickly because I don't want the tutorial to be a long one. So I'll just blend all these uneven skin color transitions just using our mixer brush tool. So blend like that, and as I'm doing all this, I'm not zooming all the way in, because when you zoom all the way in, you can't see the uneven skin color transitions, and you can't know or identify where to blend and where not to blend regarding your photo or regarding your image. So I'll just blend like that, and you have to follow the direction of the way a given area is shaped to keep and maintain the original shape of that area. So I'm just going to come the hand, so you can see I'm moving the brush in this kind of direction because the hand is also moving in this kind of direction, so that I can keep and maintain the original shape of the area that I'm trying to blend regarding the skin tones or the skin color of the subject. So you can see right here, I'll blend right here and like that. So as I'm doing all this, you can notice that the skin is going to look smoother than where we started. So this is what we call frequency separation, because in frequency separation, we edit or retouch the colors alone, and we also perfect the textures alone in the photo. So at the end of it all, when you combine both refined layers regarding colors and textures, we end up with what they term as a retouched photo or a retouched image. So I'll come to the lower part of the body, that is the legs, and slightly zoom out and increase on the size of the brush and blend the dark areas alone, blend this highlight alone, and blend this dark area alone. So you can see by just blending these areas, and where they are transitioning from one color to another, just get a very tiny brush and you blend that border or that surrounding area so that you can create even and smooth transitions between the skin color or skin tone. So I'll blend like this. I hope you can see the effect in real time. So I'm just going to come right here and try to work on the leg or the knee in this case. And for the knee, I'll just simply brush right there on the dark area and try to smoothen the dark area in that case. Don't eliminate the whole knee because this is going to make the whole leg look flat. So just blend slightly and you don't get rid of the knee details completely. So once you're done retouching the area or the skin, you can now come and turn on the texture layer to see the effect or the results of the retouching process. So this is what we have right now. So in case you want to remove the textures or blemishes, you can select the texture layer, come and get the clone stamp tool. For settings, the hardness is 0, soft round brush is selected. The mode is set to normal, opacity and flat 100%. Align is checked and the sample is set to current layer. And you can zoom in by using Command plus on the keyboard, Control plus on the keyboard. Reduce on the size of the clone stamp tool by using the square bracket keys on the keyboard, and remove the blemishes. So hold down the Option key on the keyboard, Option, click on the clean area near the pimple or the blemish. Release the Option key on the keyboard and click once again over the pimple to eliminate it or to cover the pimple with clean skin. So you're basically copying clean skin and pasting the clean skin over the pimple or over the blemish to remove or get rid of it. So I'm just going to remove all these tiny blemishes on her face like this. And by just doing these simple adjustments, you can see how smooth and good the skin is going to get. But we are going to be retaining the skin details on the model skin. So just do this, and you have to always practice because good retouching really takes a lot of time and practice. So practice because you can't learn all this overnight. So the more you practice, the more you will train your eyes to see or identify every area quickly and faster, and you're going to be ending up retouching quickly every photo that you come across. So I always recommend that you practice regarding the editing process. So you can start right now. We are done removing the blemishes, and after removing the blemishes, it's time to close up the frequency separation group. You can say before, after, before, after. After closing it, you're going to create a stamp visible layer by pressing Shift Option Command E on the keyboard, Shift Alternate Control E to create a merged layer. A stamp visible layer is basically a merged layer for everything that we have beneath or below here. So after creating a stamp visible layer, we're just going to come and get the quick selection tool. Ensure it is on the plus icon or option, and you're going to select the legs because we feel like we want to first of all brighten up the legs. So to make a selection on the legs, just increase on the size and click on the legs to select her legs just like that, and come this other side and select her legs. So to subtract a selection, hold down the Option key on the keyboard, alternate for Windows, and click in that area that you want to subtract. So just come to adjustments, come to brightness and contrast, take down the contrast from the image and increase the brightness, and this is going to make the selected area look brighter. And right now you can see almost every area is having the same level of brightness in this case, and the legs are now looking brighter than where we started. You can see before, after, before, after. So after brightening the legs, I'm just going to reduce this slightly. After brightening our legs, the next step is going to be working on the skin color or the skin tones. We are basically going to create another stamp visible layer by pressing Shift Option Command E, Shift Alternate Control E on the keyboard to create another stamp visible layer. And for this layer, come to select and come to subject, and you're going to automatically select the subject in this case. And you can see Photoshop has done a pretty nice job selecting the edges of the subject. You can see the edges, and in case it has left out a given area, get the quick selection tool to add or remove a selection. So to add the selection, use the plus icon, and to subtract or remove a selection, you can use the minus icon. So after this, just come and create a new empty layer, change its blend mode from normal and change it all the way down to color. And after that, just come to the brushes and get the normal brush tool. And for the settings, make sure soft round brush is selected, the hardness is set to 0, the mode is normal, opacity and flat 100%. So after that, just come and simply zoom in slightly by using Command plus on the keyboard, or you can use Control plus on the keyboard, and sample an area on the skin color that you want the rest of her skin to look like. So for this case, I'm just going to sample a color. Hold down the Option key on the keyboard to sample a given color. So Option, I'll sample this area of her face. Option and click on the preferred color or the color of your choice. So in case you are not happy with the color that you have sampled, you can come under the color option right here, and you can either increase on the saturation by moving this towards the right hand side to increase on the saturation level, and you can start painting that given color over the skin. So take your time as you're doing this. So you're going to paint over the skin of the subject in this case. And in case the color is not looking natural, we are going to perfect that later on. So you shouldn't worry about the color at this point, because we have to perfect this color later on in this very tutorial, or just after painting the color grading on the skin. So for this step, you're trying to create even or uniform skin color for our subject. So I'm just going to paint like that. Command minus to zoom out to see the image at a distance. I'll just increase on the size of the brush and simply paint over the hand like that, or the arm. So I'll paint on the chest like that. I'm just going to zoom in to see what I'm trying to paint. So we shall come to the lower part of the body, that is the legs, and try to paint our color. So you're trying to create even skin tones or even skin color for our subject in this case. So I'll paint like that, like that. So increase on the size and paint. So you have to continue painting each single area that has uneven skin color or uneven skin tone transitions regarding your image. I hope you can see the results at this very point. So I'm just going to continue painting and painting and painting. So you have to be careful with this step, because you don't want to leave out or miss out some areas regarding the model's skin tone. So take your time as you're trying to do the painting process, because like I said, you don't want to leave out some areas unworked on or unpainted. So I'm just going to zoom in. You can see this area hasn't been painted, so I'll just come and ensure that I've painted on every single area that has or contains skin color or skin tones. So you can see it did not make a selection on some areas, but we're going to be perfecting that in this very tutorial. So you can see I'm trying to paint my color in majority of the areas that have or contain skin color or skin tones in this case. So paint like that. So take your time as you're trying to do the painting process, because you don't want to leave out some areas unworked on. So in case you painted extras regarding this kind of process, I'll show you how you can perfect or get the best out of the painting process next. So right now, command minus to zoom out. So you can see right now the skin now looks better and it looks beautiful, and the skin is now uniform and it is matching. So after painting on the skin, it is time to perfect the skin tones or the skin color. Get the eraser tool first of all and press Command D, or you can use Control D to deselect the active selection. And with the eraser tool selected, make sure the mode is set to brush, opacity and the flat 100%. And you can zoom in by using Command plus on the keyboard. So I'm just going to use a very small eraser to erase the effect from unwanted areas of the outfit, like this area, like this. So for whichever color that has a color spill over to, you can see some areas had color spill, like on the lips right there. I'm just going to get the brush. In case I missed out a given area, get B for the brush, E for the eraser tool. So you have to keep on switching between E and B. So E for the eraser, B for the brush. So I'm just going to paint right there, because that area wasn't initially added to the selection, and this area just there wasn't added to my selection as I was trying to select the subject layer. So I'm just going to continue painting in these small areas. So I'll come right here and also paint on that area like that. So once I'm done painting majority of these areas, you can see I'm just going to get the eraser tool and erase the effect from this area of her outfit like that. Like I said, E for the eraser, B for the brush. So B in case you want to paint the area that you missed out, and E to rub away color from a given area. Command minus to zoom out. So this is what we have been able to achieve regarding the painting process on the model's skin. So in case, I'm just going to zoom in slightly and see if the legs were perfected. So you can see we left out some areas on the legs because we were basically working at a distance and we did not paint the legs or the feet better. So I'm just going to come and ensure that I've painted majority of these areas with my color for the skin tone. So once I'm done painting on the skin, get the eraser tool, and the work of the eraser is to rub away or erase colors from a given area like this, and erase it from her toenails like that. So once we're done at doing this kind of step, I know this has taken so much time. So once you're done painting on the skin and we just want to perfect the color, you can first of all come to the opacity and you reduce on the opacity to your taste or to your liking, so that the color can look natural and realistic. And in case the color is looking too reddish or too orange, just come and create a hue and saturation adjustment layer. Come to master, select the reds, and you can play around with the hue values. So in case it is looking too, the skin is looking too greenish, you can move it towards the red side, just slightly, not too much. And in case the skin is looking too reddish, you can make it more greenish, or you can add a tiny bit of greens to the skin. And you can as well come and intensify or increase on the saturation level of the color that you have been able to add. Then you can come the lightness. In case it is looking too orange, come the lightness and reduce on the lightness to your taste or to your liking. But after doing this, ensure that you clip this effect to the skin tone, so that only the skin color is affected by the effect in this case. So you can see the before after. It is not too much, but it looks better than where we even started. So once you're done doing this, you're just going to come and create another adjustment layer, which is basically selective color, and simply target the blacks. Come the cyan and move the cyan slider higher to have more color in the dark areas of the image, like her hair. You can see before and after, just like that. So let's do a little bit of eye whitening. So just come, create another adjustment layer, hue and saturation. Come and simply take down the saturation of the master -77 and press Ctrl I, or you can use Command I. Get the brush tool and ensure the settings of the brush are set to black and white. So in case you don't have black and white under the color swatches, you can simply press D on the keyboard or click on the tiny color swatches. And I'm just going to zoom in slightly like that. Command plus, Control plus on the keyboard, zoom all the way in. Reduce on the size of the brush and ensure white is the top color. So I use a white brush to paint over the eyes of the subject, and you can even do the same for the teeth whitening in case you want to do teeth whitening. So after this, Command minus to zoom out. So in case the effect is too much for your liking, ensure to calm the opacity and reduce on the opacity so that the effect can look natural and a little bit more realistic. So once you're done retouching and color grading the skin tone, we are now going to go into the next step, which is working on the background. So simply create another stamp visible layer by pressing Shift Option Command E, Shift Alternate Control E on the keyboard to create a stamp visible layer. And first of all, we want to remove this softbox from the background. Get the spot healing brush tool. The mode is normal, and I'm just going to simply ensure that content area is selected and paint over the softbox in this case to get rid of it or to eliminate it from the image or from the background. Reduce on the size and get rid of this tone area. So in case you want to make the background look nice and seamless, we are just going to do that right now. So I feel like the model is slanting towards a given direction, so I'll first of all get the crop tool and leave the ratio set to the original ratio. Then what I'll do, I'll just come and try to straighten up the subject. So I'll just click and move this just like that to straighten up the image. You can see this line in the background. It has to be straightened up. So I'll just move the corners or the edges just like this and move them even like that, and ensure that my model is centered in the middle or is placed in the middle, and I'll hit enter or return to approve the crop settings of this, but it's going to leave this kind of black edges in the image. So I'll just get the spot healing brush tool and I simply click on those edges to fill them in with the backdrop color or with the background color. So just click on those edges like that. So just come to the lower part of the image and dab. So just click, or you can call it dabbing. So right now the model looks straight as opposed how she was initially, because initially she was slanting. So after this, I'll just come and select the subject. So select, come to select and come to subject. And we're going to select the subject. Once the subject has been selected, we only want to work on the background, meaning we have to select the inverse of the subject. So just come to select and come to inverse in order to select the background in this case. So in order to remove these wrinkles and have a seamless kind of backdrop or background, you're just going to come and get the brush tool. Ensure the opacity is 100%, flow at about 61%, hit enter or return. So just going to sample color on the background color and paint that color to the rest of the background. So option to sample a color, option, click option and click, option and click to sample a color and start painting that color, option, sample, option, paint, option, option, click and paint. So that is basically what we are going to be doing for the rest of the background color to remove or to make the background or backdrop look nice and seamless with no folds and wrinkles. So I'm just going to, you have to keep on sampling from various areas of the backdrop. You don't have to paint one specific color over the whole backdrop, because the backdrop has this kind of gradient and the color is not the same all through or all around. So after that, I'm just going to come to the lower part of the image and try to paint just like that to remove the dirty areas from the foreground part of the image. So, but as you're doing this, make sure that you don't get rid of the original shadows from the image. So once you're done painting, the next step is going to be come and get the mixer brush tool, and for the settings that you use for your frequency separation, just select clean brush and simply come and start painting just like this. And you can see by painting, you are trying to get auto blend the colors that you have just painted over to the background, and it's going to make the background look nice, beautiful, and seamless in this case. So just come, and for the normal lines that are existing in the background, to leave the dimension intact, ensure that you don't get rid of that line in the backdrop. So just paint on the dirty areas and keep away from painting very close to the subject, because this is going to create some kind of haloing effect and cause a color spill from the background to the subject. So keep away from painting very close, and in case you want to paint very close to the subject, you can use a very tiny brush and paint just close to the subject. Don't use a very big brush. So once you are done painting onto the background or the backdrop, you can see what we have right now in this case. So we are just going to come, and this time around we are going to select the subject, because so after painting we are going to come first of all and Control D, Command D to deselect the active selection. And after this, you can see the background now looks nice, beautiful, and seamless in this case. So I'm just going to reduce on the size slightly and try to paint in that area. So after this, we are going to create a copy from the background layer by pressing Ctrl J, or you can use Command J on the keyboard. And after creating that copy from the background layer, just come and select the subject. And you can see Photoshop is going to help us to automatically select the subject. Once the subject has been selected, ensure the selection is very accurate. Get the quick selection tool and ensure that you add a given selection that may not have been added to the selection of the subject. So I'm just going to add the hand or the arm in this area to be part of the selection. And you can now come and add the nail in this area to be part of the selection. And you can simply remove a selection, get this tool, the minus tool, and click to subtract a given selection from a given area, and you can now come and also subtract it from there. Once you're done making our beautiful selection of the subject, you can see this area hasn't been added to the selection of the subject. So I'm just going to come and ensure that that has also been added to the selection, and this part of the shoulder has been added to my selection of the subject. I'll subtract this from the selection. So once you're done selecting the subject, in this case, we are going to put or copy and paste the subject onto a brand new layer by pressing Ctrl C, or you can use Command C to copy the subject, and press Command V, or you can use Ctrl V to paste the subject onto a brand new layer. Then come to this layer and make sure it is selected. Then we're going to come to our snoot effect. So just want to add an optical snoot to the background. So for this case, I'll just come and add this to my snoot effect. So you can add whichever effect that you want. So for this, you can even add this in case you feel like. So I'm just going to add, I feel like I should add this one. So to select this, get the rectangular marquee tool and click just like this and drag down to make a selection of that effect. Then after selecting that effect, you can press Command C to copy it. But I feel like this, I prefer this one better. So I'll just choose or go for this. After copying it, Ctrl C to copy it. Then come right here. With this layer below the background selection selected, I'm going to press Ctrl V, or you can use Command V to paste my beautiful effect onto the background. Then I'm just going to right click on the snoot effect and come to convert to smart object to be able to change the values later on. Then I'm going to press Ctrl T or you can use Command T on the keyboard. Hold down the Option key on the keyboard, and I can simply come and I resize my snoot effect in the background, just like that. And I'm just going to press Enter to place the snoot effect. Come to the blend mode, change it from normal to screen, and you can see it has placed my effect over to the background and has removed the black edges. Then after that, I'm just going to come to Filter, come to Blur, come to Gaussian Blur, and move the radius slider higher so that the effect can look natural and realistic to the background in this case. So I'm just going to leave it at about 12. 12 looks okay. I'll just click OK. So in case I want to change the color of the effect, just come and create a hue and saturation adjustment layer. I click on the clipping mask icon so that the effect can affect only the snoot effect. Then I'll just come to colorize, make sure it is checked, and I can change or alter the color of the snoot effect in this case to my taste or to my likings. I feel like that looks okay and it looks perfect. So after that, you can now go ahead and save your photo or save the image. So simply come to File, Export, come to Export As, and it's going to open up the Export As window right here in Photoshop. And after that, just make sure the quality is set the maximum, which is 7. Format is set to JPEG. Then resample is set to bicubic, sharper, because we want a sharp image during the saving process. Then scroll down to color space. Make sure the color space is set to convert to sRGB and embed color profile have been checked, and click on export. And you can save your image in whatever location that you want or prefer. So this is how you can edit a studio photo from the start to the very end. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget, keep practicing and as well keep creating.